once you've written your paper, or as you're writing your paper, you want to make sure that you are following the MLA guidelines also for citing work. That includes in the text within your paragraphs and also on that final page, which is called your works cited page. If we look at that works cited page first, the formatting for the page is very similar to that in the rest of the paper. You're going to have 1-inch margins all the way around. You will continue the header. If this happens to be the 4th page, then you would have your name and the number 4 up in that top corner. So you're just going to continue the header the way it's been the rest of the paper. The title should be centered as it was at the beginning of the paper, not underlined or italicized. Again, continuing the same format, all lines are double spaced, and then all entries are alphabetized. The thing that is a little different in the works cited page is that those entries are going to include a hanging indentation. You can set up the hanging indentation by using, in Microsoft Office, the paragraph option. There's an option inside that menu which gives you the choice to change, to create a special indentation. Hanging is what you want to look at, and the hanging indentation simply means the first line is left aligned and all subsequent lines in that entry are going to be indented, which is opposite from the way the normal paragraph is set up. Here are some examples of how the works cited entry will be formatted. There are different rules and guidelines for each type of publication based on the publication itself, how many authors are included, the medium of publication. So it's really important that you use the tools that are available to you to double check your sources as you go. Here are some samples of some basic sites, and these are the ones that tend to be used more frequently. Notice that pretty much for each of them, they follow a very similar format where you have the author's name, which comes first, the title of the book, periodical or article or site, the city of publication for a work that's been published in print, any date that where the work itself was published, and the medium of publication. With website information, we want to also have a date of access. Because things are continually updated when they're online, we want to make sure that we know when you were able to find the information, what was available on that particular day. Again, we're going to visit the online writing lab that Purdue University has set up to look at a couple more specific rules for our online sources. When we look at the website, here are our basic ideas. You want to make sure that you find as much information as available, but know that not every web page is going to provide all of this information. If it is available, however, it's your responsibility to try to find it and add it into your citation. You want the author or editor's names if available, article name and quotation marks. We want the title of the website itself, any version numbers, which includes revision, posting dates, volume, or issue numbers. This would apply specifically to online magazines or periodicals. We want publisher information, including the publisher name and date, any page numbers if they're available. We want a medium of publication, which medium means the method. That could be web, if it's an online site, or it would be print if it's something that you can find like a book in black and white. We also want the date of access, and note that we will not include the URL. MLA does not require that we include the URL, so that's something that we are not going to include in our research paper. In addition to the works cited page, we also have to cite our work while we are writing our paragraphs. Remember, if you use information from any source, it has to be cited within the paper. To do that, here are some basic steps. You're going to put the author's last name and page number where you got the information in parentheses following the quote. If we were looking at an article that came from author Noah Jones, at the end of the quote, we would include this information, Jones 56, because that's the page number we found it on, in parentheses. And notice that the period ending that quotation comes after the parentheses. That becomes part of your thought or your sentence. If you mention the author's name, this is just a side note, if you mention the author's name in the introductory phrase, you only need to include the page number in parentheses just to avoid the redundancy. So if we started out according to Noah Jones and then provided our quotation, we only would need to add the page number, not Jones, in the parentheses. Again, if you visit the online writing lab that Purdue University has set up, there are several examples that are set up for you that will help you with that formatting. The thing to keep in mind is in-text citations are required for any information that does not come from your own brain. In order to avoid plagiarism and just to be a scholarly writer, you want to give credit to anyone who has published work before. Anything that's not your own, you want to credit. If there's anything that I can do to help as you move through this process, please let me know, and I also will post additional resources within the class.